everything going down on stream. So we do get a good overlook as we jump into our first match of the day on stream A between Fnatic and FaZe Clan.
It is time, ladies and gentlemen. The sun's out, the guns are out. Let's get into it. Our first match of the day and our first ban will be Hibana being knocked out by the guys on FaZe Clan.
Well, at least it won't be suns out, guns out for us because it is extremely
No, it's absolutely
here.
freezing.
It was negative 17 degrees Celsius when I woke up this morning, ladies and gentlemen. That is ridiculously cold.
I think that's right around 0 Fahrenheit. I could be wrong. But
it's
for all the Americans out there.
I'm not made for this anymore.
I'm here to help you.
Sheesh.
Well, Ying will be the other ban on attack being picked up, and the second ban from the guys on Fnatic, and their obviously only defender ban is going to be Mira. Generally expected to be knocked out here due to its general usefulness. And we'll see the last ban coming in just a second. This will be the final pick from FaZe. Let's take a look.
The Hibana ban here is especially specific to me, at least. You know, FaZe banning that out early on. They're on defense, so they're not going to have to deal with it until they get to their offensive set. But eliminating one of the hard breachers is a very big deal because it makes you choose what you want to get open. You can't have an exponential amount of hard breach. They do have Mav still, though, in play, as we are actually going to be seeing a Cavi-era selection already by FaZe Clan.
See if they stick with it, though. I think, like Lee said, it's only really been Vert that's stuck with it so far, fully committed to it, and yeah, there we go. He doesn't even end up locking it in. He ends up switching that over to a Jaeger. Not too surprising, of course, considering how little play we've seen from it, besides the guys over in the S. Oh my God!
You've been bamboozled.
Oh!
He got you good.
He just took me for a ride. Hasn't locked it in yet, though.
Oh, man, I haven't even had that much coffee yet, Astro. Come on, dude. Already bringing out Caviera this early. I want to see how this will affect the round. We are going to have Yuna with the Alda on Maestro as well. Starting to stick things in pretty traditional spots. This is actually a pretty well-known Evil Eye at this point. And I actually forgot that you could actually vault through that section of the ceiling right there off of the bookshelf instead of archives. But what you guys are going to be wanting to look for, if you are a FaZe fan, you're going to want to be looking for them to hold down this office area because they are dedicating a lot of reinforcements over here. So they're more likely they're going to be playing bodies over on this end of the map, over here on the east side of the Armory lockers / archives defense. As well as it does not look like they are going to be setting up for anything inside of CCTV. And it looks like they're actually going to keep this soft so that Unit can keep an Evil Eye up here. But they do have a lot of destruction on the offense, so I don't see this Evil Eye making it too far into the round.
No, certainly not, and leaving the entire wall open is definitely going to leave an easier route for Fnatic again, and oftentimes we see plenty of teams being stuck at that exact wall where we just saw the Evil Eye placed, and a large part of the round being fought just to get that wall open. Obviously that won't be the case this time. The battle will be happening much further into the site. And the fact they have the Buck just makes taking it down that much easier. Also saves them that extra thermite charge they would have definitely had to use to probably get to the inside, so this makes it a little bit easier for Fnatic. We'll have to see how FaZe Clan will try to play that defense.
They put so many reinforcements over inside of office, and they dedicate just a minuscule amount over to CCTV. This is a very extended hold upstairs by FaZe. Now, the main thing right here is if they're going to get stretched thin. That is one thing that is very apparent that can happen if they cut off some rotates between CCTV and really isolate Astro inside, as well as the mute by Cameraman. Oh, Rizraz going to come in. Is he going to be able to find the second? No, Magnet's going to find Cameraman with a nade. Very easy cleanup for Fnatic. Lusty, not fully killed yet. Ace is going to find one of his own as Marengo will go down. There's only 2 left alive for the boys of FaZe.
Fnatic just tearing through it inside of CCTV, unfortunately not leaving FaZe Clan with much of a chance, and this extended defense now comes back to bite them in a very hard way. So Mav and Yuna, they're incredibly split up now, because they're going to have to try and come back from a 2v5 to somehow try and piece together this round. Fnatic, meanwhile, I mean, the world is their oyster at this point. They can pretty much go inside of Armory in any direction they choose. They don't even have to breach the side of this wall. There we go. It's another easy pickup for Lusty. Yuna doesn't know which way is up, unfortunately, due to the amount of players that are pushing him currently. And it's left down to Mav now. A 1v5 beset against him. The C4 is out, and it connects, knocking down Magnet, but unfortunately is only a small gesture. He's got 4 more kills to go, and with the diffuser going down in just a moment, he's going to have to work a little bit harder, and most importantly, a little bit faster to get back into this site. He's found that second kill, though. It's a good start for Mav. He's got to go way, way further if he wants the clutch. Yeah, we've got a full full pullback now from the members of FaZe. They're playing this as far away from that diffuser as possible here. Mav, though, doing a good job of playing this out. He's going to get spotted, and unfortunately, nearly getting the detection against him. He's being surrounded as well, whether he realizes it or not. He certainly has an idea to it. Will jump on, tries to bait out some players, but will finally fall at the hands of Rizraz, giving Fnatic who we see doing, there we go. It's become a thing now, might as well, right?
APAC dance.
Yeah, it's the APAC dance. There you go, I'm digging it. So we do end up seeing Fnatic strike first here on Border by taking control of the opening round on their attack.
Again, the main points I talked about earlier in that round, you do not want to see them get stretched thin, but Fnatic handled that beautifully. Isolated CCTV room, took from the outside, pushed Rizraz inside, while they also had another push from the window to try and distract. Worked out beautifully. And it was almost a perfect round. It was very close. I thought they were already going to start off perfect on day number 2, but to no avail as Mav decided to put 2 people's heads on the ground. But Fnatic will still come away with the first round, so we'll be entering round number 2. I expect that FaZe is going to try and play things a little bit tighter to the chest here. I don't think those extended holds are really going to work against Fnatic. They did a very good job of getting the information early on and isolating out what was happening inside of CCTV.
Took care of most of the more worrisome aspects of FaZe's setup there. The Caveira just getting absolutely jumped on by everyone inside of CCTV. We said the 1-for-1 exchange, but thankfully Fnatic had multiple players pushing into that room at the same time, so they were able to not only trade out the Caveira and fully take her down, but keep the only other player that ended up going down alive in the process. So really clean stuff from Fnatic, really solid stuff on that take. And they're going to have a chance to do pretty much the exact same thing again, since the players on FaZe are going to still play into that site.
New camera feed up and running.
5 seconds to go.
Going to be starting upstairs, as Blue said once again. Run it back, see if they can find some different results. Looks like they are going to give up on the CCTV hold, though. Yuna will dedicate another Evil Eye over to the corner of the armory wall once again. But it looks like they are going to be having Mav play downstairs this time around, possibly try and have some denial with that Nitro Cell. It's actually will rotate back upstairs through metal staircase. So we'll see how Fnatic was to try and handle this differently this time around, since there will be no activity inside of CCTV room.
To be fair, though, the aggression from Mav was pretty on point when it came down to the 1vx situation there. Still was able to pick up at least 2 of the kills and handled it incredibly well. So I don't think it would be too much of a risk to have him out in the open and trying to take a more risky position as we would somewhat come to expect. It's a slow start, though, for Fnatic once again. Not going to be taking any unnecessary risks early on. They are just trying to get control of the west balconies to start, and will probably take a relatively similar route in their overall take from what we saw in the last round.
Fnatic taking things a lot slower, definitely playing for that information game this time around. Did very well on how quick their execute came out last time. Actually, it looks like they will dedicate a few people into CCTV. As you guys can see the Doc, Astro being in there, but Morenga gonna find one, as well as Magnet. The refrag onto Yuna. That means no more Evil Eyes will work. Virtue is already up inside. This is what this man is known for, is his aggression, as he continues to barrel his way inside of the back of armory lockers.
Virtue's going to get himself stuck in the back. Unfortunately, no room to plant just as of yet. They still need to move Magnet through these smokes if they want to open up that opportunity. He doesn't feel confident to go for it here either. He knows there's pressure just to his left, so he doesn't want to take the risk. Tries to leap out the window, and in the meanwhile, Virtue's going to be able to pick up another kill. Knocks out the smoke, finally eliminating him. Removing that issue. Most importantly, opening up a much easier opportunity for the guys on Fnatic to be able to go for the plan. A wild run out from Mav as he tries to get himself into a good position. Leaves him taken down by Virtue. And now they have rotated the kid around. Well, Cameraman's going to be able to leap outside of CCTV and steal one away. Knocks down a second and finds the finisher. Drops the kit in the process. And now leads it into a 1v2. The problem being, Cameraman's alone. The good news, though, he's got the diffuser sitting right in front of him. He's got a real chance at this. Going to line up after he sees those bullets coming down. Gets a spot onto his opponent for a moment as well. Is forced to fall back. He's trying to play this as dynamic as possible to leave the options open, but Virtue, a headshot out of absolutely nowhere, takes him out, and Fnatic seal the deal on round 2.
Very close there for FaZe. Cameraman almost able to bring it back. Only had 2 people to find, but just did not come to fruition. FaZe right now just not really playing the trade game. Seems to be that they are not getting much information on where the push is coming from Fnatic, and they're not able to make the adjustment. Fnatic capitalizing too quickly for them to try and do anything about it. Specifically, their Magnet was a very smart buck play. He swung inside of Sandwich. They knew that he was there, immediately hops back outside. Mav still thinks he's there, goes for the peek on a Sandwich, gets deleted by Virtue. just Fnatic firing on all cylinders right now. FaZe lagging behind just a little bit.
Yeah, and by the way, on that entry, Fnatic pretty much does everything to Virtue there. Really busted open the site for those guys to eventually try and move in. Obviously, they didn't need to end up attempting a plan at the end of the day, but really cleared out the site and allowed for that progress to move forward even further with the 2 or 3 kills he got inside and the final kill as well. Really good stuff by Virtue. He's certainly showing up for the same prowess that we saw from him yesterday, and that was a key point out of Fnatic's victory there.
This FaZe will go downstairs. No 3P upstairs. Feeling a little bit more confident in their downstairs hold after those 2 back-to-back unsuccessful defenses. But they will keep things relatively the same. Yuna still on the Maestro. Couple of switch-ups over on the other side of things. Cameraman no longer on the smoke. Marenga will pick that up. Mav not playing Valkyrie anymore, so he will pick up Legion. And Astro over onto the Jaeger.
Fnatic out. Let's take a look at the route that they're going to choose to go this time. Looks like they'll move in from the east side a little bit more, but still taking the same spawn routes here. Once again, FaZe not doing anything really hyper-aggressive when it comes to their positioning. It's not like we're going to have any balcony runouts or anything like that. So it should be a pretty safe start to the round for both Fnatic and FaZe, considering FaZe's decision to play this pretty passively to start.
Fnatic currently has a lot of soft destruction in their lineup. Buck, Zofia, Ashe. That is so much. But it will be a downstairs take, so that could work out for them. There's a lot of angles that you can make to hold doors, as well as upstairs. There's plenty of flooring that you can rip up for your own chaos to create inside of sight. As Rizraz will get the first bit of information from Fnatic, marking out that there is people playing upstairs, as you do on this site.
Yeah, and that would justify why we see so much of a presence from FaZe on the upstairs too, just because of all that soft destruction that Fnatic are bringing to the table. If they lose this, it is going to be a very hard time for FaZe to be able to hold on to the sites downstairs. ADS is going to eat up those 2 flashbangs. We'll see the frag attempt to go in as well. Grenade going to be tossed to these guys as well, and they'll try to breach into the wall to take control. Meanwhile, Cameraman is going to try and trick, but he's way too late on that. So has to instead hug the only other reinforced wall they have on the inside here. In fact, falls back inside of the closet and falls down to the server room to fight another day.
Those concussions by Virtue, a lifesaver for their hard breach, as Aces will be able to get the armory wall open. And this is really where the push is going to start to pop off, as Rizraz will set his sights on the back of armory lockers. Virtue is rotated out just due to the fact that he is a lower HP. Does not want to try and take too many gunfights right now in his current condition. This Magnet will hop onto the drone game. Fnatic currently looking to try and gain as much top control as possible, but that is not the way to do it. Astro going to start things off right for FaZe this time around.
So a good start for FaZe finally, but it's short-lived as Virtue immediately trades it back. Mav, however, has 1 more to the kill counter for FaZe this time as he's able to find and eliminate Magnet, bringing us into a 4 versus 3. It should be noted that Virtue also took a decent amount of damage from the fight that he took, so even he's sitting at under 50 HP and will be a little bit worse for wear. He ends up in a future fight here. The rest of the guys on Fnatic just trying to pinch out the rest of the upstairs pressure, make sure that no one from FaZe is left up here before they eventually go for their execute, which they need to do soon during the load time. A nice find from Virtue once again, though, through the wall, able to take out Yuna, and now evens us out into a 3v3.
What a pinch by Fnatic upstairs on the Fountain. It was 1 man, 1 Alda, and a dream. Did not work out. Is Lustig going to be able to find Cameron? Yes, he will. No, fight 2. Mav going to go down as well. It's all left up to Marenga against 3. Very low health on 2 of the operators for Fnatic. Marenga's gas grenades could come up huge here, and it will be Thermite, though, and Virtue will find Marenga. Yet again, Fnatic showing up right now. 3 rounds in a row. FaZe just not up to snuff just yet.
Really coming down to the wire there, however, when you look at how close that was. The smoke grenade had to have been on top of the planters. For sure he was taking damage from that. There was a very, very limited timer on how long they had to be able to knock out Marenga, and they get it done just in time. Beautiful work by Fnatic, once again slipping through. So far, a flawless attacking side for them as they picked up 3 in a row on 2 different sites.
There's something that I always love to talk about, especially within Siege. This happens in all esports, all sports. It's always the team that makes the least mistakes that wins. FaZe is making some major mistakes on their roam game right now. They're not assisting each other. They're taking 1v1s or even 1v2s or 3s in the hands of Fnatic. Fnatic is playing a team game right now. FaZe is playing a lot of a lone warrior style of play, and it's really not working out for them. Yuna getting locked down inside of Fountain just due to the fact that his other roamers were already dead.
So it's looking like we'll see FaZe reattempt the site 1 more time. or trying to move themselves into a different site. Imagine they try to go back upstairs or something like that, but they don't have that many rounds left on defense, so they have to try and find a site they can win sometime soon here. Otherwise, Fnatic is just going to run the entire gauntlet for a massive lead at the start of this game. A lead that FaZe may not even be able to come back from. But the setup is looking like it's going to be relatively similar, if not exactly the same. On the defensive side of things, once again, there's a large focus on holding the upstairs side of things. I believe the Bandit's new, correct?
Yes, the Bandit is new for cameraman at least.
So they're adjusting that and bringing it in this time, because I don't believe we had that used on previous rounds. So now they're going to...
One round.
They have had it before. So either way, just on this site specifically, trying to add a little bit more defense to that upstairs wall to hopefully prevent Fnatic from taking control of upstairs so quickly. But Fnatic has already shown adjustments. FaZe has tried to put obstacles in their way in the past. So I would not say that this is going to be the be-all, end-all stoppage of Fnatic's so far very successful aggressive pressure on the upstairs part of this map.
And as with the rest of the maps in the pool, defensive-sided is just the meta right now that really feeds into that. But defensive-sided is order. Most specifically, Armory Archives getting played 66 times in the regular season, 56.1% going to the defense on that. So, pretty defensive-sided, but no success found by the defense on either of these sites so far. Ventilation Workshop following that up with 53 plays and a 52.8% rating.
So once again, we're going to see CW. We actually did have the Bandit last time, so my apologies. As I'm remembering now, he tried to trick, but unfortunately was knocked out.
It was cameraman, actually.
Yeah, and we can see he is going to put it down successfully. That's why I didn't remember it last time, because he never actually got the trick off. So
it's these concussions. These concussions are just doing absolute work.
There we go!
Down! The thermite charge! That is the difficulty of trying to be a Bandit main and Bandit tricking, is that you can have kind of a fault in your hardware, per se, as the thermite charge will detonate and take cameraman down, and they're going to be able to identify it out. They're going to check half wall to see if anybody will be playing it, but Virtue is going to clean it up with an impact nade. Very good use of utility. Does not want to leave cameraman alive, even as a downed drone.
And obviously, again, like we talked before, a lot of emphasis on defending this room, despite the fact that it's not actually the site. They know that there's at least one other person in there, so that's why they use the utility instead of risking a peek, where Yuna might be able to trade it back and bring it into a 4 versus 4 situation. Yuna is still taking damage regardless, but Mav will strike first. It won't matter though, as Rizraz through the door is still able to find that kill onto Yuna, taking him out, and I'm pretty sure handing over the majority of the upstairs control to Fnatic now.
3 players remain alive for FaZe, 4 for Fnatic respectively, as the sights of Fnatic will start to motion towards site. They do still have one roamer though in the hands of Astro. You guys saw him inside of Fountain, but Fnatic has other things in mind currently. Only 30 seconds left on the clock, and Moringa still alive with a lot of those toxic babes still in hand. The timer slowly ticks down. Fnatic is going to have to try and move onto site. A lot of finagling right now as they are holding mostly angles. Aces, though, gonna hop inside and start to get the plan down. Only 3 seconds remain on the plant. Is he gonna be able to get it down? Yes, he will. The plant will finally go off, and Mav won't be there in time to try and get any damage down. Astro rotate to the bottom of metal stairs. So he will take a little bit of combative angle in towards customs. Encountered using Woolstar by Moringa. He's going to stick it, as he will eventually get off, and Lusty gonna find 2. It's all left up to Astro versus 4. But no, Virtual will be able to find that. And yet another offensive round won by Fnatic. Is there any way to stop this train?
It doesn't seem like it at this point. We just go through the same process almost every round here so far, where Virtue opens up an opportunity for them to take the initial control that they need. Then besides that, they rely on either Virtue again or Lusty to just clean up the remaining players. And that very much has been the storyline of a lot of these rounds. FaZe Clan just cannot seem to hold any ground here against Fnatic. They're either giving it up far too early or losing every single 1v1 that they end up taking for control of an important room inside of this map.
Virtue has a 78% KOST rating. That means he's useful 4 times out of 5. That means every 4 out of 5 rounds, he does something to impact the game. That's insane. That is an absolutely insane margin. So it's definitely showing right now just the power that Virtue has in the hands of FaZe.
I would imagine our stats, if we could bring those up for a second as well, lean pretty heavily into his favor as well for Fnatic's side. It would have to be him and Lust as well that I would say as the leaders right now. But We're, of course, going to look at that a little bit later. For the guys on FaZe, of course, they're really just trying to get themselves started here at 0-4. Continuing to rotate around these sites, by the way. 2 more on their last site. They've now rotated over towards Bathroom Tellers. Haven't gone back to the second floor just due to how one-sided those rounds were in the favor of Fnatic. They got close a couple of times on their workshop attempts just 2 rounds ago, but again, not close enough for them to continue attempting it for more than 2 times in a row, so they're going to change it up one more time and see if their Bathroom Tellers hold is a little bit better against Fnatic, or hopefully Fnatic just doesn't have as strong of a take for these 2 sites.
Honestly, I would have liked to have seen a different ban from FaZe Clan, just through the fact that this Hibana ban seems to have no effect on Fnatic at all. They're still getting to the site for practically free, and they're getting the walls open as well. I really feel like what they were trying to do is ban away Hibana so that bandit tricks would have a better chance of working. Because when Hibana's on the board and you have dual hard destruction, all you have to do is shoot Hibana pellets on one side and have an exothermic charge on the other, and he has to choose which thing he doesn't want to blow up.
It's also a bit odd when they ban the Hibana, but then the first thing they do is leave the west balcony wall soft in the first round. It seems like it's counterintuitive a little bit, but obviously they've still reinforced it in future rounds. But yeah, it's certainly making the job that much easier for Fnatic when they don't even have to use their thermite charges just to get to the inside of the Arsenal room. But we've got Fnatic on the inside once again, taking swift control of CCTV. They're going to follow that through, moving over here towards the Armory and looking to take control. It should be pretty easy this time. I don't believe we have any defensive setup on the inside of Armory. So the guys on Fnatic should be able to just walk right in.
Yeah, I mean, as you do, really. I mean, this is a building, open the door, you just walk right in.
Thankfully, obviously, we're playing on the other side of the map this time, so FaZe's setup is going to look a little bit different given the sites.
I mean, FaZe should really just have like a greeting person at the door, because just let him walk in every single time. It just keeps happening.
I mean, they do. He just keeps dying.
He just keeps dying. They just keep shooting the greeting, man. Oh my goodness. Plenty of angles to be built up here for Fnatic. As you guys see, a couple of angles were actually opened by the defense initially, but they completely abandoned ship as soon as Fnatic came knocking on the door, trying to play their lives out a little bit more this time around, see if they can get Fnatic to slip up a little bit. But so far, there's been no slippage by this offense.
RizRaz slowly moving through here, pretty much on his own for the most part. He does have some support out in the hallway, but he's very much pushing this on his lonesome. He'll end up falling back a little bit. You heard the shot downstairs. There we go. Looks for the opportunity and succeeds upon it. Cameraman goes down as RizRaz finally gets a kill in the favor of Fnatic with just under a minute left. They do need to speed this up a little bit, though, as remember, they're taking a downstairs site.
Oh my goodness, what a throw! As I believe, who was that up on top? Was that Magnet?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you, but we are going to see Mav get himself into an engagement. He's got to be careful with the holes blown in through the 4, as RizRaz has now found a 3rd kill in this round. Really going on a tear at this point. Only Moringa and Yuna left, and he's got his ace if he wants to try and go for it. Just under 30 seconds with the 3 kills they found over these last 30 seconds or so. Fnatic now should have a relatively easy time. They're trying to play for intel, trying to see if they can figure out where Moringa and Yuna are. You can see the drone moving in now before they actually push the site, and it works. There's the 4th from RizRaz. Let's see. Do we get the ace? And I think we do. RizRaz shutting it all down. Beautiful stuff from him.
Put the man on Ash, and he will get you kills. RizRaz is showing out for the Aussies right now. Fnatic getting hype on screen for you guys, and Dizzle, definitely a happy man as head coach right now.
Certainly the case, especially with this much of a lead over FaZe as well. A 5-0 lead currently over the FaZe roster. Just 2 more rounds away from winning, and we haven't even switched sides yet. We still have 1 more round to go here on this half. So certainly, Fnatic have to be feeling good right now.
There's only been 1 7-0 so far, and it was SSG versus Rogue. We might have the second one right now in the winner's bracket, surprisingly, which I didn't think that was going to happen. I didn't think that's how we were going to start the day, but Fnatic definitely came out of the gate swinging. As we will jump back in. We had a little bit of an error, a little bit of technical difficulty, but we got it sorted, as we will jump into round number 6 as Fnatic continues to barrel down on a 7-0.
And as FaZe Clan continue to ring around the site, Rosie, they are going to head over to Vent and Workshop for 1 more attempt at that. That'll be their 3rd attempt on that site, I believe.
I think the main thing for FaZe right now is it just seems to me that they are a little scared of Fnatic. They just do not want to take these gunfights. Even when the pitch came down inside of the office area, when they had Magnet up on the bookshelf, tried to contest Magnet, a nade pops off, he's like, oh, I immediately got to drop, I can't run forward, tries to drop hatch. And that's right when RizRaz moves up and gets the pick. I mean, Fnatic is firing on all cylinders. It's ridiculous, especially for how morning it is in gamer time, at least. Like, nobody wakes up until the afternoon. That's how this works.
If you look back as well to the Immortals game that they played during the Pro League season a couple of weeks ago, we're looking at some very similar issues here again, which does once again bring up the question as to why FaZe felt comfortable to go to this map in the first place. But it seems very much like the second they start to fall behind in a round, they play it back incredibly passively, and as a result of that, Fnatic is allowed to set up whatever the heck they want for the most part. They're not really wasting a whole lot of time. That last round really being the only exception to that, where they were pressed for time a little bit to actually get into the site. But even then, they made it work in a relatively clean fashion. But getting back to my point, on all the rounds prior to that, Fnatic was able to get either upstairs control or some type of staging ground incredibly early in the round, giving them essentially an infinite amount of time to set up whatever they'd like to do on an execute. And when they finally go for those executes, 9 times out of 10, they worked flawlessly so far. And FaZe Clan just hasn't been able to stop that, because they're not working with a whole lot of intel since they're playing so passively. And of course, they're not trying to contest too heavily on early in the round. Rizraz, though, what is this? He's going right into the site right now. He's found a player as well. Moringa picks up the first, but Rizraz and Virtue trade it right back against Moringa and Mav. One of the Fnatic players will end up going down. Yuna with a quick wrap around as well, takes down Lusty. Fnatic may have finally met their match here at the very minimum. They finally found themselves at a man disadvantage with Virtue at half HP. Ace being the only other one left in this at full on the Thermite. Still held back. He's got himself on a hard angle right now. He does get spotted on the camera, so he'll be forced back to the inside of the bathrooms temporarily.
That is the power of those vertical angles on this site in particular. As Yuna will come up big, as he will kill Lusty and stop the plant from going down. They're trying to halt the bleeding that is this 5-round deficit currently for them. Cameraman rotating over through Customs area, trying to find the head of Virtue, but to no avail. They do identify out that Cameraman is inside of Customs. Ace is trying to move up to deal with him as the Nitro Cell will ring true inside of Customs, but it's not going to make any contact. Timer slowly but surely fading away as we are at 1 minute and 15 seconds. These last two operators of Fnatic are trying to find some footsteps on the site. Another gunfight going to come out. It will be Astro, but nothing going to come of it. He will rotate and find Virtue, and Cameraman going to find Aces, as FaZe Clan will waltz right into their first round.
And Fnatic, for the first time, biting off a little bit more than they could chew with that incredibly aggressive play. I think in that instance, quite literally trying to walk directly into the site for a take there, but not working. Still, though, an impressive half from them at 5-1. Leaving them only 2 defensive rounds away from closing out the first map of this series. FaZe also, of course, getting their first round on the board will be a slight confidence boost to them, and we'll have to see if that carries over onto their attacking side at all. They are going to choose at halftime as well to take their pause, more of a mental reset and a chance for their IGL to talk about what needs to be done on this attacking side at the start if they want to have a chance to get back into this and stop Fnatic from running away with the first map.
This tactical timeout is well placed. Just got to the half, as you just heard Blue say so. Will be rotation. Fnatic now on defense, FaZe now on the offense. And again, the one thing that is harder than defense in this game is the exact opposite. It's the offense. It takes a lot more coordination to get your executes off, whereas defense, it's your home. It's your turf. You really have to, they just play into what you're doing. So they are definitely going to have to make some adjustments, because right now they're just having really no team play that has at least shown inside of their defense.
I do respect the choice to do the tac pause now instead of later on in the first half, though, because unfortunately most of those defensive rounds weren't even close, so I think it's better that they choose to focus now on the attacking side, where they hopefully have a chance to kind of reset themselves and reinvigorate themselves to get back into this, and this should be fun. Lusty.
I'm going to assume that Lusty switched off of the Pulse due to the fact that Yuna had IQ, but IQ is going to switch over to the Montang. It's going to be an immovable object against an unstoppable force if we do get that ever so beautiful combat between Monty as well as the Clash. It's always so hyped up, but nothing comes of it ever.
You guys ready for the Shield Boxing Championship of 2019?
Did you refer to it yesterday as cardboard boxes?
Yeah, that's what SpongeBob is.
That was a good reference.
So we'll see if we end up getting that. Which again, yeah, everyone gets hyped.
What's that?
What's up?
Virtue is 10-1 right now.
I knew he was up there. I didn't know he was that. I mean, even like Rizraz and Lusty, look at them. 9-3, 5-2. They're destroying it right now. Those three alone.
Magnet, he's 2-5-5, so he's assisting a lot. That's not a bad thing. You know, you're at least helping out the team till you're making those kills lighter for those other teammates. You know, takes a little bit less damage. You have a better chance of winning those gunfights. Might just take a couple of body shots instead of having to go for that headshot.
We've got Magnet going for the chucks on those cameras, seeing if he can set up a good position for himself to play off of. Meanwhile, the rest of FaZe, it's actually looks like they're going to spend a decent amount of time droning this before they even move into the building. It's only 1 or 2 players that have moved up to it. Meanwhile, we saw at least 2 or 3 players on their drones. So it's probably going to be a slower start once again from FaZe. They, unfortunately, have kind of had to shift into that. We've seen similar style shifts in the past on this map for them. When they haven't gotten off to the greatest start, they usually tend to stay in a pretty slow-paced strategy. And I think that is going to be how they'll play this for the start of their attacking side, just to make sure they don't make any mistakes, because things are obviously a little bit unstable right now.
Mav going to be in the bucket. He will start things off on roof. About a minute has been expended by the offenses. No real progression has happened towards site, just still playing the information game initially. So they're trying to find out the exact setup of FaZe. Aces, pretty good on the Maestro. We've seen some crazy kills by him in the past over the APAC region. So, but the main thing going to be here is going to be Lusty switching off of the Pulse, and I think that is the main reason when it's taken FaZe so long to get inside of the building. The word about the Pulse play from underneath, because again, you do not know what they 6 picked off of until you can confirm all of the operators.
So Lusty and Montaigne have that epic duel that we're all waiting for. We'll see if that ends up happening, of course. So we do have the majority of FaZe Clan pushing in from the other side of the map, trying to move themselves in from there and slowly sweep across the upstairs, specifically so that they can move the Montaigne through, and well, this could be a problem.
Definitely could be a problem. He is going to slip past, play a little bit of limbo with the hatch there.
Made it work.
Looked like a legend Tomb Raider, just like trying to get by. But
listen, man, that shield's heavy. That could have been easy.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's a mountain, dude. The guy's like 6'5". You know that?
Oh.
Yeah, he's huge. Huge.
Well, we'll see him line up on the inside of the lockers now to try, or just on the outside of the lockers, excuse me, try to move in. There's Magnet in the meanwhile, picking up a shot against Moringa, nicely found there. And either way, we start off the round with a C4 kill from Fnatic. Virtue, though, not finding himself in too good of a position, ends up getting lit up down to about 5 or 10 HP left over. All that damage coming in from Astro, I believe. And now they're trying to find those final bullets. He nearly gets a response from behind the bomb itself. Cannot connect his shot. Now Astro looks to finish him off, but he can't connect that final bullet either. He's gonna end up getting pinched pneumonia if he's not careful, but in the meantime, Aces comes in to assist. Virtue actually picks up the kill against Astro, finds the reversal. Very well played again by Virtue, leaving Yuna as one of the last men standing. He'll end up getting knocked out, leaving only Mav, who's completely detached from this entire situation, all the way downstairs at this point. Sneaks away with 1, yes, but time is up now. And with still 3 defenders standing for Fnatic, they push it forward up onto Map1 for themselves at 6-1.
I guess Mike. Oh well. Anyways, Virtue, as well as his counterpart Magnet. Who needs a Pulse when you have a Valkyrie? I mean, really. Already had the information, very well placed Nitro Cell. Definitely going to change up that round for the better for Fnatic. That is going to be 6-1, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be one of the widest margins we've seen so far at Invitationals. Mainly due to the fact of just how well put the utility usage of Fnatic has been. All of their entry has been off the back of their utility. It's not really off of FaZe absolutely blundering away inside of their defensive setups. It's just more the fact on how good Fnatic has been at dispersing all of that utility usage.
Yeah, it's been, again, clean is the best way to describe what we've seen so far here from Fnatic. There's only been really 1 or 2 rounds that have come down to the wire, both in time and kill trades that have happened, where we end up with only 1 or 2 players from Fnatic left alive. For the most part, they have been absolutely destroying these rounds, really only losing players in that final battle when we end up seeing the outright 5v5 between the 2 teams.
So we are just going to be fixing a couple things over here. So just give us 1 second as we will be back in the game soon. Big stretch by the man in the middle. Gotta stretch all those arms. We're doing a lot of killing, you know. Just gotta get a good stretch in there. Fnatic, though, been looking fantastic so far. Definitely think that the key point is they're really letting their fraggers do their job. They're not holding them back. Lots of drone work, lots of information play getting fed into Virtue, as well as Rizraz. And that's really where everything's shining right now. When you see your entry fraggers getting a lot of kills, you have to thank your support players for the information that they're gaining for them.
Yeah, and absolutely. And again, just another big shout out to how well Virtue's continued to do here. Really a standout performance from him so far throughout this. Just in that last round alone, right? Like out of nowhere, doesn't even really see where the shot comes from, gets lit up down to about 20 or 20 or 10 HP, somewhere in that neighborhood, and somehow manages to turn that same fight around just due to the good positioning that he had behind the bomb, and finally able to line up a headshot against the Zofia from the other side at the time. I believe that was... it was Astro that tried to take him on there. It's on a different operator now, because we're obviously waiting for this to get unpaused. But still, some really strong stuff and some really smart plays as well coming out from not only him, but as you were mentioning, players like Rizraz and even Lusty as well.
And it does appear that we might have an alibi that might be a 6 pick, but Lusty's been doing a pretty good job on site so far, for the at least border, and you guys might be wondering why Lusty has shifted over to Alibi. Well, Alibi has found kind of a different use besides roam game. People like to use her utility on site, just provide a couple extra bodies per se for people to try and put some bullets into. Not only do those bodies waste a couple of bullets for the offense, but it also gives you instant information on exactly where the offenders are. So, those holograms can come in quite handy in the right situations. So we are actually going to have that 6th pick off of his Lusty. We'll switch over to the Legion. We will have another one come out by Yuna. No more Monty. Going to be bringing out the Finka.
All right, guys, so we'll get ourselves into it now. And take a look and see if Fnatic can shut it down right here, right now, or if FaZe still has a little bit of fight left in them to run another fantastic comeback. We've seen that from multiple teams, especially yesterday. Let's see if FaZe can pull up another one.
Yuna switching to the Finka as well as Astro bringing out the Dokkaebi really is a telltale sign that they're going to more or less focus on site execute. They're bringing the Finka so that they can push hard onto site, as well as they saw that the defense had no smoke. There was no smoke. Go, okay, we can bring Finka, no recoil, we can move through barbed wire faster, and not only that, we can ADS quicker. We have a better chance of winning our gunfights. So, partnered with those logic bombs of the Dokkaebi of Astro, this could be quite the firework of a round.
Thankfully, the lack of a smoke remained true up until this round, as you were mentioning. Fnatic still not bringing it onto the table this time, instead choosing for the mute. As a result of that, will enable Fnatic's more aggressive pushes should they want to go for, or excuse me, FaZe's more aggressive pushes should they want to go for that in this round. Take a look now as they are out onto the board, but it's looking like another slower start with emphasis on droning to start playing for intel before they move too aggressively into the building. And now, start to see them move up into position, keeping the Finka behind to still do the droning work for them, mainly supporting Astro, I believe, at this point.
It's actually quite comical that they're not bringing the smoke just due to the fact that that is one of Ace's most played operators. It's actually his leading defensive operator that he plays is Smoke. He's the Bonnet Smoke main for his team, but as we were just discussing, Smoke has not yet been played today by the boys of Fnatic. So, I mean, you really can't argue with results, though. You know, it's kind of one of the things where if it isn't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
up 6-1.
I would honestly say the Fnatic is thinking to themselves right now, like, we don't even need a smoke. Like we can just bring more utility to the table than that. So we haven't had issues just stopping these pushes outright. So the smoke is kind of unnecessary for them at this point in the game.
So they use their first logic bomb, use their additional, their first adrenal surge. She gets 3. She does not get 2. She gets 3 of those. So the main thing right here is a little bit of utility usage early on and nothing really done to the defense at all. They have pushed them back, which is a big thing, but they still have plenty of ground to cover in order to try and take over this side. They're only halfway through the round, though, so plenty of time still on the board.
Just over a minute specifically of time. Fnatic are on the roam a little bit, though, so they have to be careful of that. As FaZe are still looking to clear out some of these hallways and whatnot, Lusty specifically into the open, and Virtue, no surprise there, going to be finding not 1 but 2 pickups from just outside of the hallway, finding those shots to the inside. He's able to knock out both Yuna along with Astro, and those were the 2 really most important operators they needed for the push, so now they've lost them, in addition to the diffuser, of course, still being on the ground as well. This is a whole new objective that FaZe need to work towards now, and to be honest, I don't know if they can do it.
Virtue preying on scared players as cameraman will find Magnet. That will be initial frag for the offense. They really haven't had any luck on entry frags at all. Not starting up, except for 1 round they had man advantage. Everything else has been quite the fight back. Rizraz going to take an aggressive angle as he's actually going to get found by cameraman once again. It will even the playing field, but Virtue's really just preying on scared players right now. That's really what he's doing. They're all pretty terrified to try and peek him. I mean, you had Mav upstairs. He could have rotated to try and cut off his rotate into Fountain, or excuse me, Office, but nothing comes of it. Diffuser will go down for the first time on FaZe's offensive set.
Mav able to pick up a first kill for himself as well in the post-plant situation. We do see Cameraman picking up the next kill against Aces, leaving only one still standing. It is Virtue, of course, but he's incredibly low. That doesn't seem to stop him, though. Picks up the first kill. He's got 2 more to go, and this is a rough crossfire for him to play against here. The attempt to kill him, though, is not successful. He'll right back to the inside. He needs to look for a player on the outside. Won't be able to find it, and there we go. That's where the low HP comes back to bite him, as Moringa, with just a single tap to his shoulder, knocks him out and picks up a second round for FaZe.
Very smart spot there by Moringa.
Yeah, they really snuck it in, too. It didn't really seem like Fnatic. Fnatic got pushed out finally for the first time in a while as well,
yes.
Which is certainly an unfamiliar situation for them. But in addition to that, they really snuck the defuse in as well without Fnatic really having an idea about that.
Well, the main aggression from FaZe was upstairs, so they adjusted with putting more bodies upstairs. Virtue takes out 2, and then they're like, okay, we know Virtue's upstairs, we don't want to deal with that. So they immediately rotate down, go for the plant on a whim, and it works. Sometimes things just work out that way. You have them distracted upstairs, Virtue calls that he has 2 kills, and he assumes that more bodies are going to be coming to try and get him out of Fountain just because of the impact he's had so far on this match. But go to site, get the plant down, make them come to you, and you end up picking a round for it. But deep breath by FaZe right there, as they still have a long road back to redemption, at least for Border.
Certainly the case. 4 more rounds consecutively that are needed at this point by FaZe Clan in order just to trigger overtime, in addition to the 2 out of 3 following rounds that they need to win in OT itself. Fnatic, no reason for them to be worried just yet. Even that round itself came down to the wire to a certain extent before the plant happened. So Fnatic are still in a good position. The alibi does come out fully as well here, so we'll still see that in play for this round. Meanwhile, the Mute has been completely dispatched. In fact, it was 6 picked away by Rizraz, putting him onto a Legion instead, which we've seen already in plenty of the previous rounds, but they just wanted to hide it this time.
Yuna leading on Finka once again. That's actually his most played offensive operator. And actually, he has the most clutches of his entire team.
Interesting.
So, and he's kind of a split player as well. He plays Finka and Maestro. That's his 2 mains for his offensive and defensive sides, respectively. But they are going to be rearing that head once again, the likes of Finka. I would expect that Fnatic, as soon as they see Yuna start to pick up this mantle over and over again, they will make the adjustment to smoke just because of the amount of damage you can get off with those toxic babes when someone is Adrenal Surge.
It's a slow start again. We can see Astro going hunting for anyone that might peek out against this doorway, but at the moment he hasn't gotten that peek just yet. He'll move forward, get himself into the doorway itself, and start the push forward towards the armory, start clearing out the top floor. Where obviously, as you can see, Fnatic still has a decent amount of pressure as they've had in previous rounds too. At least 2 players are up here. Virtue's already met quite a bit of damage against him as well. He's just over 25 HP right now. The fight, the FaZe players engaged upon him.
Fnatic going to rotate back downstairs. Smart play by them, just want to play out their lives as long as possible. The first Adrenal Surge will be used by FaZe. Again, she does get 3 of them, so not really a waste of utility, as they will finally get control of the vertical angles upstairs. And this is where things are going to start being very, very dangerous for Fnatic. To play very smart to try and combat this style of play upstairs. Very, very hard to try and win a gunfight from a lower point of ground.
So once again, we've got FaZe focusing a lot on their droning here to try and clear out the top floor and allow them to move in. So for the most part, Fnatic have now fallen back to the low timed situation. They don't have much active contention going on here anymore, and as a result of that, FaZe will have their setup in the way that they want it. The contention from Fnatic is going to come much more from the downstairs side, like inside, just outside of interrogation like we're seeing right now. But here we go. This is where the issues are going to start to pop up for these guys on Fnatic now, as they will have to deal with pressure from above. Karen with a nice wrap. Once again, being boosted by the Finka's able to move in. Quickly takes down Virtue. Rizraz, though, trades it back. He knows he's got a second battle coming, but he's not ready for it. Yuna trades him right back down to the ground, limiting Rizraz and putting us into a 4v3 favorite for FaZe. It only goes further as Moringa finds the next pickup, leaving us just with Aces and Mag left standing here for Fnatic in a 2v4 situation. Magnet trying to throw out the C4 is a complete miss. Unfortunately, well off the mark, so no kills picked up by him, and he takes a whole lot of damage in response, down to about 15 HP or so now, trying to still play off of this, but it's not going to be easy. The only benefit working into their favor is the time is low, but now they've lost a Magnet as well, with Mav picking up the kill. It's left it all onto Aces to try and pull off a 1v4 clutch. It's the nice first kill, and we only just now have the diffuser going down. A second picked up by him. There's that Alda again doing work. The only problem though, he's taken massive damage for these first two fights. He's down to about 10 HP. And not a whole lot to work off of here as he moves his way in. And as well, time is going to be limited even more, but Mav, inside of the server corner, takes him down and picks up another round for FaZe.
Nothing like a good old-fashioned skeleton key kill to really put an exclamation point on your round. That's going to be 3 straight for the boys of FaZe. So really bringing things back right now.
Certainly showing a little bit of struggles, of course, for the guys on Fnatic, but the good news for them is now that the adequate amount of rounds has been claimed, they can rotate back over to the upstairs armory site where they were able to close out previously in this half. And hopefully this is what they are going to be able to do to close out this map. This is what they were banking on. So it's after this round that they'll start to get a little bit worried if we see FaZe winning again.
Now, you might see an adjustment come out here from Yuna just due to the fact that Rizraz has donned the mantle of smoke, but it doesn't seem like he's going to do so. Just going to have to be very smart with those adrenal surges. Pushing onto site with a smoke in play as Finka is a very, very dangerous thing to do. Those toxic babes almost do 5 damage a second. If I remember that correctly, again, there's a lot of different damaging stats in this game, and oh my goodness, 25 kills between Virtue and Rizraz. That is ridiculous.
Just those two alone, they're 5 kills, 10 kills ahead of their next highest player. Would have been lusty in that situation.
Virtue and Rizraz combined have the same amount of kills as FaZe as a whole.
Woo. On a heater right now.
That's ridiculous.
Some amazing stuff coming out from those two. We have seen Virtue have a little bit of struggles with FaZe Clan picking up these past couple of rounds. Even then, he's still been able to find impact here and there. His attempted clutches nearly end up going out his way. But the setup now complete for Fnatic. FaZe will be unleashed onto the field in just a second here. This will be Magnet moving to the outside, throwing out those cameras, which he's able to use throughout the course of the round, even after death as well, when you access the cameras from the spectator POV after you've gone down, which makes Valkyrie an incredibly useful operator for trying to spot pushes early on. Since those cameras, if you're creative with the positioning, obviously are going to be a little bit harder to spot.
And it's actually been, so far, quite comical how comparative Virtue is to his counterparts over in APAC. There's 3 main players everyone's been talking to us about inside of APAC, and it's been Waka, Virtue, and NV Taylor, and their ratings are actually so close together. 1.38 for Waka, 1.34 for Virtue. Virtue yet again, as you say the devil's name and he shows up, the man absolutely deletes Morenga off of Repel.
Runs
what
out
a kill.
onto the balcony, full committal to it as well, ran out pretty far, and just finds an easy pop for himself. Takes down their only hard breach as well, which might cause some pretty major issues now for FaZe, especially if that west balcony wall has been fortified or they run into a big wall they have to deal with. It does look like it's been half fortified, so that is going to limit the options for FaZe Clan a little bit, depending on how they want to approach this execute. As you can see, they're still leaving other options open too on the other side of the map.
Can't even let me finish my thought there. That man just runs out and finds such a nice kill. But NV Taylor was the last one from Mantis. They'll have very comparable playstyles as well as ratings, but again, each one of them very unique in their own way as well. So Virtue will rotate his way up metal. And Virtue is basically just a one-man wrecking ball. He does not need anybody to help him out. If you give this man information, he will find you those kills. But FaZe is going to have to try and deal with him. As Astro will try and peek into Ace's Maestro, and Cameraman will do the same, as Aces will remove his head for him. As things are starting to fall apart for FaZe on this take. Another angle opened up by Astro as he will try to grab a tighter angle with that ACOG and try and take a gunfight with Aces. We'll see exactly how that one's going to work out. This Toxic Babes will ring through. Yuna will take a lot of damage. Aces playing such a tight angle. Magnet going to find one of his own on the Mav and will knock it down to just 2 lone soldiers for the boys of FaZe.
Unfortunately, FaZe is not finding those entries. Once again, the same problem that popped up the last time they tried to take this site. They are going to be able to at least attempt the plant on the diffuser, and it's looking like it's going to go down as well, but no, denied by Alesti, leaving only Astro alive. But Astro finding impact, just not enough. Aces takes him out, and it's Fnatic that claim map #1 of the series, leaving them only 1 more away from pushing forward even further into the group, and I believe safety for the playoffs.
Well, the initial thing right there is that they were being so quick on their previous executes. They just kind of stalled out inside of offices and let Fnatic pick them apart. You really can't do that, especially with Virtue on the map. The man will rotate, and he does it quickly. As soon as he gains that information, that man is on the hunt, which is comical. since Jaeger's name literally means hunter in German.
Yeah, really does line up well with the namesake
Yes,
there,
it does.
doesn't it? So beautiful stuff, specifically from the two leaders on Fnatic, Riz Raz, who was the insight player that was dominating, especially in late round situations. But Virtue also had his fair share of late round impact frags, but it was the early round where he truly shined, constantly opened up massive amounts of room on the map, especially when they were trying to take